NaturalBowWoman here. Today I'm going to be making another medieval arrow bag, just like this one. And this one now is full, so I need another one. Okay, the things that I need to make my medieval arrow bag are the calico cloth, as heavy as you can get it, because you want it nice and thick to stop the points going through it. This was meant to be heavy linen cloth, but it's not as heavy as I wanted, so I'm going to be doubling it up, which worked fine on my other one. So you need pins, flexible measuring tape. The reason why is because it's easier for measuring the arrow spacer. You need an arrow spacer. This is 24 holes, and also holes on the sides so that you can sew it on. You need cotton linen thread, thick thread. Can't remember the thickness to this, but you need thick darning needles to go with it. This is waxed, so it's quite nice to work with. This cord is 5mm cord. You can choose what cord you want. And scissors and pins. And that's it. Okay, the next stage is measuring. You need to take 3 measurements, which would be, if you were to get the bag, as you can see on here, you'll want from the top to the bottom, and you'll also need a middle one where the arrow spacer is going to lay. Okay, so top to bottom and also the middle. Okay, so how you do that is you measure your longest arrow. Okay, in my case it's 28 inches, my longest arrow. So I will be making longer arrows because I'll be using longer tips on the end, the broadheads and things like that. So I will be bearing that in mind as I go along. So don't take my measurements as exact, because it is for personal. Okay, so the first measurement is you've measured the length of your arrow. Then what you want to do is place the arrow and the spacer on the cloth like this, and measure about, I like 5 inches. They usually say about 4, but I prefer 5. I like lots of room and space. So 5 inches from the top to where your arrow is going to be. Okay, because you need enough room to make a hem, and I'm having a drawstring, so I need enough room for that as well, and to pull it close without tightening on the arrows. Then from there you measure where you want your arrow spacer to be. Again, that's preference. So my total is 12 inches. Okay, I think that's plenty enough, because I like my arrow spacer about an inch. I like my arrows an inch from the spacer, not too far up. Then what you do is measure to the end of the arrow, which is 33 and a half. I don't know how a half inch had happened there, but 33 and a half. Then what you want to do is, again for the bottom, is measure about 4 to 5 inches. I'm going 5 because again I'm going to be making a drawstring at the bottom. So actually, looking at that, it looks like it's more 34 rather than, okay, I'll go with 34. So I'm going to 5 inches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the total length of this is 39 inches. I'm just going to mark. Then you need to measure the width. Okay, that's a nice easy technique. What you do, you need to measure the arrow spacer, and this is where the flexible tape measure comes in handy. This is actually 21.5 inches diameter, and then you need to add on another extra inch to allow for hemming for the sides of the, so 21.5, so you see how I measure it. Okay, so 22.5 inches altogether the diameter of this spacer. So you want to go from here That's your width. Okay. Need to make, I should have done this earlier. I've got to put this in again. So I want to do 12 inches where my space is going to be. I'll put that back in there, never mind, just to show you. 12 inches, that's where my arrow space is going to be. So those are the 3 measurements that you need for the length and the width of your arrow bag. That's all cut out now. Make sure that you draw a line where your arrow spacer is going to be sitting, because when you sew that on, you're going to want to see where you're sewing it. It'll be a marker for you so you don't lose track and it's not uneven then. Okay, so I'm going to turn it around. So now that's the bottom of the bag and that's the top. We want to make a hem from here to here. I'm going to leave 2 inches from the bottom because that's where my drawstring is going to be. I need to make a mark there. My pen's not working. Okay, from there. Now I'm going to make the hem the quickest, easiest way to make a hem. You can either use hem web, wonder web, whatever they call it. But 1/2 inch from here. So you're going to do from here to where the arrow spacer begins. About a 1/2 inch hem. It's about a 1/2 inch. All you do is iron it. Iron the fold. Just want to make sure that it's. Get a ruler. And just iron. Fold. Do it all the way up. Right, rather than sew these hems down, another easy way is just to iron this down because it stays down quite flat. Iron the hems 1/2 inch on each side along up as far as the arrow spacer. Don't forget, if you want a drawstring, to leave 2 inches at the bottom here to allow the channel for the drawstring. Okay? Right, what we're going to do now is turn it the other way around. And then I'm going to fold it this way and pin them together so that you can't see the stitching. When we turn it back the right way around, you won't be able to see the stitching. Make sure you've got the arrow spacer markings the same. Okay, once you do that, you're ready to start sewing. Using the linen thread and the needle, I'm going to use a back stitch because it's nice and secure and it won't come undone too easily. Like so. And that should hold it securely and shouldn't see the stitching on the other side. Now that I've sewn it together, the 2 hems together in the back stitch, which if you can see makes it nice, and that's the back stitch. Okay, Now what you do is just turn it back the right way, and you'll be able to see how tidy, how neat and strong the seam is. Okay, right, so top to bottom again. See the result of that. Next stage now is we need to tidy up these hems. Do the same with both, and then we're going to stitch with a stitch that you don't get to really see on the other side. It's called blind stitch. I'll undo it a little bit. Okay, so as you can see, you can hardly see stitching at the back, so it makes it look tidy. Stitch. It took me a little while to grasp it, because I kept forgetting how to do it. I found myself doing something else. There you go. You can see, just gives it a nice hem, nice finish, and you can't really see it on the other side. So the hem is done. See, there it is. And you can see the stitching there. So our next stage now will be to do the drawstring channel for the top and for the bottom of the bag. I'm going to start with the top. So what you need to do is just do a small part of the hem and then about 1 inch, guessing, like so, enough room for the drawstring to go through, and just pin it, and then sew that again with the same stitch as you did this tidy up hem, just a blind stitch if you want to. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay, all along. Same at the bottom. Might as well do them at the same time. If you remember, I left 2 inches for that bottom piece. Tidy up the hem, just a little. Up to the and you pin that all the way. And as I just said, once you've done that, you again do that in the same stitch as you did this top hem, the blind stitch along the bottom there. And drawstring channel. That's that. like so. Okay, now that that's done, the drawstring channel is sewn on, so that's where it's all going to go through. That's been sewn, and I've also done the top end as well. The next stage would be just to threadle some drawstring through. So we made this out of a coat hanger, my drawstring drawer. So I just tie that on. It's like a giant blunt needle really, a giant eye. Does the job perfectly. So let's do the top one first. And you just thread it through. It's really easy once you've got that first knot through. Some threads in there somewhere, but that's how you draw it through nice and easily, and then that's how you can measure how much you want. Just want enough to make a bow really, that'll do me fine. Okay, so I'll cut it to about there. And then just put a knot on the end. That's all I do. You can do other things if you want. It's just simple. So I'll need probably 2 knots to stop it going through the channel. That's the top end done. And let's do the other side. I did this channel a little bit smaller, so a little bit more fiddly. So I'm just going to try it just without 2 knots, just 1 to get it through there easier. I think this cord is about 5mm. It's cotton linen, natural colour, and this basically is just homemade from a piece of metal, well, from a metal coat hanger, and reasonable length, and just put an eye in it. It's simple, works well as you can see. It's a great little tool, very useful. So that's how you do the drawstring, like so. That's the bottom. The next bit now is for the arrow spacer. Okay, this is what I do. Now if you remember, we drew a line inside here. I've done a blue one. Now what we're going to do is just fit it to that line. And it should fit just nice and snug in there really. And then the holes on the side of the spacer you have here, this is where I will sew each individual stitch. I won't just sew all the way around, because if one bit was to come undone, then if you've sewn it all in one go, then it's likely to the whole thing come undone. But if you do it individually, then it's not going to affect the spacer. You're only going to lose 1 stitch. So that's my reasoning anyway. So place that in there. That's the underside of the spacer, so you want the smooth part, tanned part on the top. Just slot it in and then sew it on. Any stitch will do, doesn't really matter as long as it stays. It's a little fiddly to do. Once you've got it lined up with the lines, and then just sew each one on. While I was putting it on, I didn't mention that what I would do is usually get the middle seam here, the front, and put it in between two holes, the little ones here, so that I get a nice alignment of the spacer. It doesn't really matter how you do it. Quite simple really. I'll just thread it round about 3 times. Everyone's got an easier way to sew this on. I really much appreciate the input. Or if anyone has any other ideas of how to make the bag or other types of bags, I'd be really interested to hear. And that's it, you just finish off. That's what I do anyway. Put it nice and tight. Should stay on the line. You just do that all the way around. You can tidy up by tucking it underneath. Like so, all the way around. Okay, now that's sewn in, or they're all sewn, the arrow space is in the bag now. Next stage now is I like to make a strap. So what I want to do now is I want to make 2 cord loops. One here and one about here. So the measurement I like to do, let's get some more fabric. I usually do it 3 inches by 5 inches. So I want 2 of them. So 3 inches by 5 inches. So I'm going to cut 2 of those. Okay, so I'll cut those. Don't need double up on these because I'm going to be folding them in half anyway. Okay, so you have those 2 pieces. Now what you do is fold it in half, both of them in half. Make a mini hem, just flatten it down, like so. And then what you're going to be doing is attaching the mini hem, is sewing them onto each side of the seam. My first one's going to go here, like so. So you make a little bit of a channel for the cord. I'm going to be using this cord again, which I'll show you soon. So I'll have one there, and I'll do the same with this one, and then I'll attach it about there. So, and then you just sew that on with the linen thread again. Okay, so that's the cord loops now sewn on. I don't know if you can see the type of stitching that I've used there, and sewn in between and sewn in between the seams. The only thing left to do now is the cord, the same cord that I used for the drawstring. I measured it basically from my other medieval bag that I used. So you just thread it through. Obviously, just let you know, I put a knot on the end to stop it fraying. Nice and simple. Okay. And just tie it. I like this kind of strap. I can use it for multiple things, like I can just put it over my shoulder, across my back, even across my waist horizontally, vertically, horizontally. That way, actually. Okay. So there you go. That's the bag. The only thing left to do now is to put the arrows in, just so you can see it in action, sort of. I could also use this if I wanted to as a type of quiver as well. So I'm just going to put it sort of like that. And I did it very long at the bottom so I could put different sized arrows. So here we go. I'll tie a knot there first. I'm not just going to leave it like that. What I do is bunch it so I can actually have my arrows sticking up as low or high as I like. And if I wanted to use it as a back quiver, the arrows are higher up so I can grab them easier. If I just want to use it for storage and carrying, I can have the arrows lower. Lower, sitting in the arrow spacer. So there you go. Perfect. So if you would like to leave any comments, really appreciate if you have any thoughts on improvement, how I can improve on the bag, or other ideas for other arrow bags. I'm always into looking at other designs and styles. I would really like to hear from you. Feel free to subscribe, like or comment, and I always will reply if you leave a comment. And yeah, take care. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.